everybody, it's me, Carmine DeStefano, the Bookman. In 1987, Nintendo had released a different type of game for its Nintendo Entertainment System. An epic adventure about a sacred realm with a sacred hero and a sacred princess battling against a real bad villain. And that was The Legend of Zelda. And throughout the years, the legend itself had evolved, as did the gameplay, the graphics, and the characters. And then recently, in 2006, at the same time when it was released on GameCube, it had released a new version of this legend on the Wii, which had just been released right before that. And that one is The Legend of Zelda, the Twilight Princess. And this game sort of brought in a different element, the world of Twilight. Now this game had been reviewed many times before, but I thought I would give you my own take on it as I go through the entire game for you, from beginning to end. Well, let's take a look. Link starts out as a humble farm boy from a village known as Orden. He has his humble friends, and they all live the humble life.
And we had a ball until...
Hey, that ain't right! You wake up, you can't find the children, you enter this realm where you turn into a wolf, and you get locked up. And you thought you were having a bad day. But you meet this churlish little imp called Midna, who takes you to...
Your Royal Highness.
Princess Zelda herself. And they enter in. Of course I wouldn't, she's a computer program. What is this, the Matrix? So Zelda tells you the story about Zant, the King of Twilight, screwing everything up. So now we gotta bring light back to the Faron province. How do we do that? You defeat these bugs and collect the tears, you bring light back, then you go to the forest temple where you fight a mini-boss to get the item to help you beat the main boss. Now we gotta do this again for the Elden province. You'll find the scent of the children that you lost. You use your sense to pick up scents. Get it? Let's play on words. So you trace your scent back to Kakariko Village and the shaman's house. And there, you bring light back, then you go to the Gore Mines, where you fight a mini-boss to get the item to help you beat the main boss and collect another fused shadow. So now, we have to bring light to the Zelda province. I don't know how to pronounce it. How do we do that? Simple. We find Ilia, finally, watching over Prince Ralis of the Zoras. So, we safely see them both back to Kakariko Village, and there we get the Zora's armor, which helps you breathe underwater, where you find the Lake Bed Temple, and in there, you fight a mini-boss to get the item to help you beat the main boss. So now we have all three fused shadows. So everything's great, right? That's until Zant comes around and screws everything up. Puts a spell on you, and he almost kills Midna by exposing her to light. We have to rush back to Princess Zelda. She tells you there's only one thing to break that evil spell on you. Come on, Zelda fans, you know what that is. The Master Sword. She also passes her life force onto Midna so Midna can survive in light. Now we have to find the Master Sword. And where is it? In the Sacred Realm. Well, first we have to beat this skull dick. And once we do, we have to move these statues back into their rightful places as they go in opposite directions. I tell you, do all that for a sword? People of Hyrule should work on my car alarm. Then after that, we get the Master Sword and you know what happens. So Midna mentioned something about a Mirror of Twilight. How do we get to that? Simple. We go here to Lake Hylia, where this old man Aruru is hanging out. Then he tells you you have to go to Gerudo Desert, which is over the mountains. How do we get there? By talking to this guy who can shoot you out of a cannon! Yeah! Now this is Gerudo Desert.
Very nasty place.
And in there are the Arbiter Grounds. And there, you fight a mini-boss to help you get the item to help you beat the main boss. Then we go to the Twilight Mirror itself and find that it's been shattered in shards. Fantastic. So now we gotta find these shards. The first one is in Snow Peak. And how do you get there? With the help of a Sei, who shows you a sketch that you give to one of the Zoras, who then passes you on to Prince Ralis, who gives you a coral earring that you can use to catch a reek fish. you get the scent and trace it back to this Yeti guy, and then go to his house where you fight a mini boss that gets you the item that helps you beat the main boss, and you collect the Mirror Shard. After that, we have to go to the Sacred Grove yet again. So we can go to the Temple of Time. And in the Temple of Time, you fight a mini boss to get the item that helps you beat the main boss. And then you get another Mirror Shard. After that, we have to now go to the sky. How are we going to go to the sky? Here goes. First you go to Renato and get a letter that you give to Telma, who then gives you an invoice that you give to the doctor. However, the doctor says that he was going to sell you a statue that got stolen. So you trace the scent back to Telma's cabin. It says she was attacked by a bunch of wolves. So at night, you go out, you beat the wolves, you get the statue back, you give it back to Ilya, who then with the help of one of the Goron elders, help of Darvish, you go in, you defeat all 20 enemies, and then you find Impaz, who gives you the charm that you give back to Ilya, and she gets her memory back, and then remember something about a messenger from the heavens. So you go back to Impaz, you show her your rod. No, not that rod, the Dominion rod. She gives you a book of sky language, which you show to Shad, who does a chant, and brings power back to the Dominion rod, which you use to move these statues, to collect the missing characters, to fill the book, which you send back to Shad, who then again gives you a chant, which opens the way for you to use the Dominion rod for the statue, move it out of the way, and you find a giant cannon! There's only one person that knows about cannons. That's the guy that keeps shooting you out of them. So you go back to him, and for 300 rupees, he'll repair it over a few nights, and then you get shot out of a cannon again. Boy, I want one of these things. And all that just to fight a mini boss that helps you get the item that helps you beat the main boss. So now we have all 4 shards. Palace of Twilight, where you meet up with Zan. And at that point, we find out that Zan is really just a douchebag. But he's an entertaining douchebag. So we love him. You fight him in all these different forms and all these different backdrops until you get to Hyrule Castle, where he just goes all blades on you. After you beat him, Midna royally fucks him up, and now it's back to Hyrule Castle, the real one. And there, with the Fuse Shadow, Midna... I'm not fighting that. Whew, good. So we scale up to the top of Hyrule Castle, where Ganondorf is waiting for you, and he fights you in 4 forms. The first is he possesses Princess Zelda. Make her take her clothes off. I'm sorry. The second one is as that pig beast. The third one is on horseback with the help of Zelda. And the fourth and final one is in a blade duel. This is where you'll need that nifty magic arm. So in the end, Ganondorf gives you a great face shot. You lodge the Master Sword into his wound. The Spirit of Zant finishes him off. Light is brought back to Hyrule, and Midna turns out to be... wow. Then in the end, she shatters the Mirror of Twilight and leaves you there in the light world with Zelda. Not that bad. So what do I think about this game? Fantastic. One of the greatest games I've ever played. Now about that magic armor, that red armor that I showed you before, where you don't lose life, you only lose rupees instead. Where do you get that? You get it from here! I thank you all for watching. I have more for you soon to come. So stay tuned, take care, and have a great day.